Hi there. Let's talk about this number right here. This is how much debt I have. I'm about $180,000 in debt from both federal and private student loans, my car loan, credit cards. That is all of my debt. I am 24 years old. I have a bachelor degree, so not even a master's. I have one minor, no focus in my major, as well as an honors degree, which did require some extra credits. So that is where this number is coming from. This is on top of the little amount of scholarships that I was awarded, so money I didn't have to pay back. This is everything I owe. Everything I owe.
$188,000? At just 24 years old, she's buried under close to $200,000 with nothing to show for it. No house, no assets. Life hasn't even truly started, yet she's already drowning in debt.
I came out of college in June of 2024, and I did not look at the debt that I was accruing. I took out loans as I needed them each year for college, and I didn't really think about what the percentages meant because I was never taught financial literacy. I didn't think about what the realistic number was going to be that I would have to owe each month on these loans, and they are astronomical, I will say. Sallie Mae, which is my private loan creditor, wants $1,800 a month from me. That's just Sallie Mae. I am right now in a grace period for 12 months where I only have to pay $1,033 to Sallie Mae. I would not be able to afford the $1,800 a month if I wasn't able to get it down for 12 months. I don't know what I'm going to do in 11 months, but this is just me talking about it. On top of that, I owe about $287 to the federal government per month. That's not changing. And I owe $202 for my car payment, and that's not even including the $150 or $60 that I owe each month for the car insurance or my credit card payments. That doesn't include any of that. So, alone, Sallie Mae wants $1,800 from me.
She's saying they want $1,800 per month from her as if she doesn't owe the money. Girl, you owe $1,800 per month because you borrowed over 6 figures. She's got to pay back the $1,800 per month for the private loans and $287 for the federal loans. That's a total of $2,087 per month, almost $2,100 in student loan payments. Now, in order to have enough money to service this debt, along with other responsibilities, she's going to have to make at least $75,000 per year. And at that amount, she's going to have to live on a tight budget while repaying her debt. She's got a car note, insurance, housing, food, the basics. With a $75,000 salary, 40% of her money will go to student loans. 40% is a lot. But the gag is, she's probably not even making $75,000, which is why she's drowning in debt and running to social media to complain.
I graduated college, as I just mentioned, in June of 2024, so this last year, and I wanted to just have a nice summer because I have been doing school for the last 5 years, and I've been taking summer courses full-time every year, and as well as working full-time. So this is also like the debt I have, and I was working full-time during the summers, and I was working part-time during the school years. So that's all, like, I still had no money, like, and I had to take out loans. So, being 23 years old, almost 24 when I graduated, I decided that I was just going to get a part-time job so that way I could only work part-time during the summer and kind of enjoy the summer because I had been doing over full-time in schools and working and had a role in my sorority, and I decided that I was just going to work part-time. And if I had looked at my loans fresh out of college, which I highly recommend you do if you have loans, do not wait until they are due to start looking at them. I decided to do that and made barely any money, but I didn't have any loan payments at the time during the summer. And I wish that I had started making the payments as soon as possible on those loans while I had them.
Her priorities are obviously messed up. When she graduated, she didn't even start working full time. And she's up here talking about spending all this time in a sorority, basically wanting to have fun. And that's just how she got into this mess in the first place. She was living a life in college that she couldn't afford, and she used those private loans to float herself through. Just spending and didn't have any plans on how she would repay it.
So I worked part-time. Around November, my best friend was like, hey, I have loans, you have loans. Have you looked at what your loan payments are going to be? And I was like, shh. Can't be that bad, right? Wrong. Wrong. I looked at my loan payments and I cried. Because I was not taught financial literacy. And I didn't understand how a credit company for student loans could charge me $1,800 if I wasn't making that much. I thought, okay, there must be something similar to the federal aid where you can do it based on income. No.
Look at all this baby bot bimbo babble. You don't have to have financial literacy to know you racked up nearly $200,000 and you have to pay it back. You don't have to be a financial expert to know that.
They don't offer that. So I would also look into that before you take out student loans if they're going to offer income based or anything. They don't offer that. The best I could do was bring it down to $1,000. And then I was struggling to find a full-time job. I applied for like 3 months to over probably 500 jobs before I finally found one. This is the catch, that doesn't even require my degree. I found a job that paid $20 an hour, 40 hours a week, and it was degree recommended, not required. So I felt very grateful for that opportunity.
And that's what I've been saying for years now. It's the biggest scam. They convince you that you'll be educated if you go to one of these schools, spend thousands of dollars, get into debt, only to graduate and can't even find a job in your field. You literally sign up to work with people that don't even have a degree, work in the same position as you, and oftentimes they make more money than you. Why? Because they work their way up and they have experience. The whole system, the biggest scam ever. Millennials learned this the hard way. It's just sad to see years later, Gen Z, they're going through the same thing. It's like nothing was learned. And that's because a lot of millennials, especially the women, went along with this facade for so long, bragging about this degree and that degree, but not telling the truth about the debt, the workforce, all of it, the programming. Really fueled by feminism that tanked the whole generation, the millennials, now look what's happening to Gen Z.
I just don't understand why companies and jobs want you to have stepping stones, but don't consider your degree to be the stepping stones or the foundation for working for those companies. And they want to pay less money for more years of experience. It doesn't make sense. It's really hard to find a job right now, like really, really hard. Anyway, flash forward, I'm doing this and I'm able to make my bare minimum payments, but that doesn't matter because in 12 months, I'm still going to owe $1,800 bare minimum on the Sallie Mae loans, and I cannot afford that. And I make $41,600 a year before taxes.
Wow. How much did I say she needed to make minimum to cover all these liabilities? $75,000 minimum. And it'll still be pretty tight, but she'll get by. She's making about half of what she should be making to cover all these bills. And it really sucks to go to school, have all this debt, just to make a salary that she could have made without even going to school.
Now, flash forward, I'm at this job for a couple months and I start to struggle really badly with my mental health. I'm talking like can't get out of bed except to go to work, really struggling, losing passion for everything, falling into a mix of, I would say, seasonal depression because it's winter and I struggle with that a lot, and also depression because my life is not going the way that I want it to go. And that is a hard thing to grasp. And also, debt is really hard. It's a hard thing, and like a lot of people struggle with it, so it's not just me coming on here. Like I'm very grateful and I am privileged, and there's a lot of things that are going well in my life, but like that debt is still looming over my head, and that is a real thing. I decided that this job was not worth staying at any longer because of how much it was impacting my mental health. I was crashing out all the time and I really tried to stick it out, but I was just really starting to see no purpose in my life, even though it was helping me make those bare minimum payments. I have since put in my 2 weeks and I'm going back to 2 part-time jobs that I've calculated out will make the same amount of money I make at this full-time job that I supposedly got with my degree. So I'm still going to make $41,600 and be able to make my bare minimum payments. But I am really worried about what I'm going to do in 11 months when I have to owe $1,800 just on Sallie Mae.
And then she's still making dumb, illogical decisions. She's quitting her job, talking about going to 2 part-time jobs. Somehow that's going to make her feel better and it's going to be less stressful. No, she's not leaving the job for a higher paying position. She's leaving for what? None of this is adding up because it doesn't make any sense.
I am putting this out there as like kind of a way to warn people about looking into what your loans look like. Teach yourself financial literacy, but I'm also putting this out there to ask, what's the best case scenario? I don't really know what to do, and I've been trying to do research. I don't want to get sued by Sallie Mae. It's hard to find a job. I don't really want people coming out here being like, well, just go find a higher paying job. You were silly to drop down to part-time jobs. That is not the advice I'm looking for. I'm looking for a best way to knock out my loans and start paying them off faster with what I have.
Basically, you don't want to hear the truth. And then she said she was warning people to look at their loans before it's time to pay them. No, how about you warn people to not get into a position where they're floating their education and their lifestyle on $100,000, $200,000 private loans when they'll only find a job making $41,000 a year and won't be able to afford to pay the money back. That's the moral of the story that she's trying to go around.
I'm making the bare minimum payments and a little bit more, and that's basically all of my income, and I'm looking for other ways to make extra money. So if I have to start door dashing as well, I'm gonna go back to a job where I'll also be making tips. All of that's gonna go towards it. What is the best way? Should I attack the ones that are high interest first? Should I go after the ones that are the smallest? Like, I'm genuinely curious, best way to knock out these loans, because I'm trying to be debt free. There was a time in my life where all I wanted was to make a ton of money. I don't care. Financial freedom to me looks like being debt free. I would love, and I'm not saying this is possible, but I don't think it's impossible either. I would love to be out of debt by the time I'm 30. That's 6 years from now. I have a lot of debt. I don't know how possible that is, but I would have to put all my money towards it. I've not made good financial choices. Like, I'm literally going on a trip in April. Like, I'm not saying that I'm perfect or that, but that's aside the case.
No, that's not besides the point. That's the reason why you're in this mess in the first place. Living above your means. You do not have the money or time to be going on vacation when you need to be working and saving money, not racking up more debt. When you're $188,000 in debt, you're not qualified for a vacation, ma'am.
That is aside the case. The point is, I can make the bare minimum right now, and I know that I could make more if I need to. Despite going on this trip in April, we don't need to talk about that. I'm still making choices, but I want to find out a way that I can get out of debt. I'm trying to find all these extra ways to make money. I'm going to keep probably eventually in the future apply to jobs, but it's just, this is the reality of it. It's just like, it's not like I'm magically going to make more money to pay off this debt. I am where I'm at. So I don't know. I'm looking for help, and I'm also trying to give some advice, but you should really educate yourself on financial literacy before you decide to take out loans. And if you have the opportunity to go to community college before going to a university, I would highly recommend doing that to save yourself as much money as possible. Because at the end of the day, as fun as the memories were, and I'm so grateful for my friends and the people I met, and they are obviously priceless. Knowing what I know now, I don't know if I would ever put myself in that position to let myself get into $180,000 worth of debt over school. So, my credit's also, by the way, because of all the loans I've had to take out. So, that is my story. And yeah, I just kind of came here to talk about it. I feel like it's important to talk about. And a lot of times I think we're kind of ashamed of it, but that's really it.
This woman is $188,000 in debt, making $41,000 a year, bringing in less than $3,000 per month. After paying about $2,100 per month in student loans, she's left with less than $900 to pay all the rest of her bills. So it's pretty obvious she's living at home with her parents because there's no money left to do anything else. She mentioned a car loan and credit cards, just a big mess. And instead of making the right moves to get on track and get her plans together, she thought she would solve her problem by quitting her job to go work 2 part-time jobs, then booked another trip that she's about to go on that she cannot afford. More than likely, she booked that trip on credit. No sense whatsoever. She's still making dumb decisions, so no, she didn't learn her lesson yet. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Tell me what you think about this below. I want to thank everybody who supported this channel. You can show your support as well. The link to PayPal is below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to like and share.